Ever get the feeling a movie was made just to tick off its own fans?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's weird, right? But you see it online all the time, especially with these big sequels. Like, remember all the drama with Star Wars, The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
People swore up and down that they made Luke Skywalker this grumpy hermit just to mess with them.
Right.
Well, we're getting into something similar today, but this time it's about the Joker sequel.
Okay.
We're going deep on this Reddit thread, and get this, they're saying Joker, Folie Deux, is like the ultimate example of a movie that hates its own fan base.
And the really wild part is this whole thing blew up on Sue's Shitty Movie Details. You familiar with that one?
I've seen it around. It's like finding funny goose in movies, right?
Yeah.
Not exactly where you go for like serious film school breakdowns.
Exactly, yeah. It's all about, ironically, pointing out these ridiculous details, stuff that no one's really supposed to take seriously, which is what makes this whole Joker 2 hates its fans thing even more interesting.
Okay, so before we put on our film critic hats, let's get everyone up to speed on the first movie. So Joker, from back in 2019, it's like the origin story for, the Joker. But instead of this flamboyant criminal mastermind, we get Arthur Fleck, this struggling comedian dealing with mental illness and basically just society ignoring him.
Right.
And the movie was huge. Like, critics loved it. Box office was through the roof.
Huge success. But even before it came out, Joker had this wave of, honestly, worry around it. Some people thought it would lead to violence, copycats in real life, or that it'd be used by, really bad groups.
You're talking about the whole incel thing that was going around?
Yeah, exactly. That whole idea that this movie would speak to them, become their thing, which is kind of ironic when you think about the actual theme.
So on the one hand, you've got this super successful movie, award-winning, everyone's talking about it. But then there's this fear that it might attract the wrong crowd, And that kind of leads us right into the sequel, doesn't it?
It does, because this is where the Reddit thread goes deeper. Their argument is Joker. Folie Deux. It was practically designed to make sure anyone who liked the first film's darkness, especially if they saw Arthur Fleck as some kind of anti-hero, it was made to alienate those viewers.
It's so interesting how the sequel itself seems to be stirring up all this debate. For people who haven't seen it, Joker, Folie Deux is a musical, and Lady Gaga's in it as Harley Quinn.
Big change.
So we go from this dark and gritty character study to, a musical. Even without getting into the plot itself, that's a huge jump in tone.
Huge. And that right there, that tonal shift, that's the first piece of evidence in this Reddit thread. Their argument is that by changing the genre and the whole feel so drastically, it's like the filmmakers are purposefully trying to turn off viewers who love the original style.
I get it. It's like going to your favorite restaurant and you're craving that perfect steak and they're like, surprise, bowl of sugary cereal. I mean, both can be good, but that switch up is going to throw you off. So is this just a creative choice, some marketing mind game, or something else entirely? That's the question. And this brings us to this top comment in the thread, and it focuses on something that seems so minor. It's about the Joker's clothes. Apparently, he gets out of Arkham Asylum after 10 years, walks into court, wearing this ridiculously oversized suit. Doesn't fit at all.
Yeah, it's so over the top, so ridiculous, it almost feels intentional. Like they're in on the joke.
Yeah.
And the comments, oh man, they are going off on this.
I bet.
Some people think it's hilarious. More proof that the filmmakers are laughing at the people who took the first movie way too seriously.
Right.
But then you've got others who think it's just mean. Like making fun of a character's clothes, especially with the whole mental illness aspect. It's a low blow. And this is where it gets really interesting, because it forces us to ask, who gets to decide what a movie means? Who gets to say what the right interpretation is?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's not just, did you like the sequel? It's why. Does it not work for you because it genuinely clashes with what you like? Or is it because you feel like it betrayed what you thought the first movie was all about?
And that's where things online, they get so twisted. We start putting our own baggage onto the movie, our own interpretations, anxieties, what we wanted it to be. Sometimes we forget that art's subjective. What one person sees as a huge problem, someone else might see as a clever joke.
It's like we're all watching the same movie, but we've got different pairs of glasses on, our own experiences, what we expect. It changes how we see everything. And with Joker, it seems like those lenses are tinted with all this worry about who the audience is going to be.
Absolutely. And it's not just the suit. The thread goes on and on about other stuff in the sequel, like all the musical numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Some people were like, what is this? They thought it was jarring. Totally wrong for a character like the Joker, all dark and violent.
Yeah.
Imagine him just breaking into song and dance in the middle of some crime.
Like, hey, you want grim and gritty? Here's something so over the top it might actually freak you out.
That's the point, right?
Huh.
Then there's the whole ending, how it leaves the Joker. I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just say it's not exactly a hero wins kind of deal.
Definitely different from the first movie, where it's kind of up in the air what Arthur's deal really is.
Right. And for some people, this is it. This is the proof. The filmmakers are making a statement saying you can't root for this guy. You can't make him some tragic hero.
So it's not even just about messing with expectations. It's about actively going against anyone who might, like, admire the Joker.
Exactly. And this is where the punishment idea gets really interesting. Like, if the first movie made people worried about who it would inspire, this one seems like, on purpose or not, it's taking away anything cool or appealing about the Joker. It's like, hey, take a good look. Is this really something you want to celebrate?
That's a bold move for sure. But does it work? That's the question. And this is where the Reddit thread really gets going. People are picking apart every single detail, every word, the way the camera moves, looking for proof either way.
And in all this back and forth, accusing the movie of either kissing up to fans or bashing them, there's a big point that gets lost sometimes. Art's subjective. A film like Joker, with all its messiness and mixed messages, it's like one of those ink blot tests. You see what you want to see, or maybe what you're afraid to see. It's on you.
We're all bringing our own baggage, our own fears, our own wants, and that changes how we see everything.
Absolutely. It's fascinating seeing how all these different takes play out in the Reddit comments. Some people, like you said, they think this punishment thing is hilarious. They're almost enjoying seeing the filmmakers supposedly take down these fans.
Like, they get satisfaction out of it.
Yeah, like they want those who missed the point of the first movie or got too obsessed with it to be put in their place.
Yeah.
But then you've got the other side, people who are actually offended by this whole idea.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they think it's pretentious. Like, who are the filmmakers to say what's the right way to see their movie? Who are they to punish people for seeing it differently?
It's that classic argument. Should artists give the fans what they want, or should they challenge them?
Right. And who decides what's even a misinterpretation in the first place? And remember, this isn't just some theoretical debate. It has real consequences. That fear around the first Joker about the violence it might cause, that was real. And the fact that this sequel tackles that head on, maybe even flips it on its head, it says something about how art shapes our view of tough issues.
It's a lot to think about. But the big question seems to be, can any art really control how people see it?
Big question. And the answer is probably not simple, like most things in life. I mean, a director can start with a clear idea, but the second that movie is out there, it's up for grabs. People are going to see it however they want.
So what do we do? Are we just stuck arguing forever about the real meaning of every movie, every song?
Not necessarily. But I think we got to be aware of what we're bringing to the table. Are we open-minded, ready to engage with the movie, even the tough parts? Or are we just trying to fit it into our own little box, find proof for what we already believe?
Like that saying, if you've got a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If we only see Joker through this punishment lens, we miss all the other stuff, the things that make it art in the first place.
Exactly. It's in those spaces, between what they show us directly and what they leave open-ended. That's where the magic happens. That's where we, the audience, become part of it. We bring our own stuff to the table, and it becomes something new.
Like we're given this puzzle box, and it's up to us to figure out how it fits together.
Yeah, and the best puzzles are the ones that leave you wondering afterward.
So maybe the real legacy of Joker, both of them, isn't about who was right about this theory, but the conversations it started, the questions it makes us ask about what the artist wanted to say, what it means to us, how a movie and its fans, how that relationship changes over time.
Definitely worth talking about, even if there's no easy answer.
Yeah.
Because the best art, it stays with you. It makes you think. And that's what this is doing.
It's like they say, right, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Maybe all this talk, even the people who are mad about it, it just adds to the whole Joker thing.
It's definitely an interesting case. And it shows you what filmmakers are up against these days. Social media takes everything and blows it up, every little opinion. It's kind of impossible to know how people will react to a movie, let alone try to control it.
So where does that leave us? Are we just stuck arguing about what every movie really means, every book, every song, forever?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to check ourselves, you know? Like, when we watch a movie, what are we bringing to it? Are we open to being surprised, to things being complicated, or are we just looking for proof of what we already think?
It's like that saying, right? When all you've got is a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail. If we only see Joker through this punishment idea, We miss a lot of the other stuff going on, the stuff that makes it art.
Right. It's in the spaces between what they're showing us outright and what they're hinting at. That's where the really interesting stuff happens. That's where we get to be a part of it, bring our own experiences to it.
It's like they're handing us a puzzle, and it's not about getting it right or wrong. It's about figuring out how it all fits for you.
Exactly. And the best puzzles, they leave you with more to think about afterwards.
So maybe it doesn't really matter who's right about this punishment theory. Maybe the important part is the conversation it started. How we think about what the artist wanted to say, what it means to each of us, and how a movie and the people who love it or hate it, how that relationship changes.
A lot to unpack there. And at the end of the day, the best art, it stays with you. It makes you think.
Yeah.
And that's what this is doing.
For sure. Well, there you have it. A deep dive into the wild world of fandom, what artists are trying to do, and why the Joker just won't go away. It's a story that goes way beyond the screen, you know? It's about us, our own anxieties, what we want, and the crazy ways we connect with the stories that really get under our skin.